Hey guys, welcome back to Eversoul. In today's video, I wanted to look at some free-to-play teams. Now, keep in mind with this, we are still very early. We keep discovering things all the time. I've been spending a lot of time in the Pridewin Discord, chatting to the Pridewin team, and basically we've just been theory crafting different teams and then sharing testing to find out what is good. So this is very early on. We've just kicked off into day 2 of the game being out, and it's still early days, but I wanted to give you guys some insight into what we found so far about teams, team compositions and stuff like that, and some of the characters that you might have, and especially free-to-play teams for characters that you guys might be able to use. So for me personally, I started this account probably about 14 hours ago, and it's going pretty well. I've been saving up all my summons. We'll do a big summon session, but what I'll do is I'll show you my team, and then I'm just going to go over to a tier list maker so that it's an easy format to drag and drop characters to show you some different team formations based on what you might have pulled. So if we jump over here and we go into this, I am currently on chapter 5-25. So as you can see, I started pretty late, so I haven't done I haven't even done my labyrinth on this account. I did it on another account and I couldn't be bothered yet. Likely it's the second day, but let's check out this. So this is my team currently, and besides her, besides Ira, everyone else in the team is free to play obtainable. The only thing is Siha here is going to have to be obtained on day 7. But the rest of my team is free to play. And as you can see, I have pulled a... what's her name? I suck at names at the moment. Sorry, guys. Yeah, a Viv. I've pulled a Viv. Sometimes I will use her, but at the moment, we're getting to the stage where things hit hard and I just need some more supportive measures. So basically, what happens here is I have my main carry set as Ira. She can deal massive damage, she has good healing, and all that sort of stuff. I've tested out leveling her further, but I found like that leveling her like 20 levels above and then creeping everyone else up and then leveling her 20 levels above has been the way that's been working best for me at the moment, as opposed to stretching her like 40 levels above the rest of the team. So that is what I've got as my main carry. I re-rolled for her. I'll talk about some substitute some substitute carries there. Now, Mika, who we get for free, and like I said, Siha, who we get after 7 days. Those two, if you don't have both of them, don't use them. If you do have both of them, they are fantastic. Those two are really, really strong together. Basically, Siha just has a really strong healing capacity, and it's burst healing. It's not as slow as other healers. And then Mika has this passive ability where she just plays her guitar and deals damage around herself. And if you can get enemies to group around her, she can deal massive amounts of damage without even having to use an ultimate. Then over here, I have, I believe is it Clara? Is it Clara? Now, you get Clara for free from chapter 3 completion, I believe it is. She's not the greatest healer. I just threw her in there as an extra because I just needed some extra sustain. It's just what I found to work so far for me. But she is a free-to-play unit. Like I said, not the greatest, but still okay. And then over here, we get from, I think it's clearing chapter 1 or 2, we get Chloe. And I'm very impressed with Chloe. The amazing thing about Chloe is 2 things. She has this ability where she's going to taunt all enemies, and then she has this ability where she's going to basically, if she drops low, she's going to be really hard to kill. So I put her in the back row, and I'll show you a bit of my positioning reasoning is here with Mika, and sometimes you have to change this up, but Mika wants enemies around her, and putting her over here means she won't take damage at the start, but once she taunts, all the enemies are going to try and get to her, which means they're going to run around and try and group up to attack her, leaving them all grouped around Mika so that she can play her guitar and deal some really nice AoE damage. And then over here, I've got my, like I said, my main carry, Ira. The cool thing about her is that her AoE from her ultimate is where the big damage comes from. It's AoE. It's based around the enemy that she attacks and the radius from them, not around herself. So she can be over here smacking an enemy and they can be grouped up around here, the enemies, and she's still going to hit the group of enemies while Ira is in the center, still hitting all the enemies. So that's the sort of strategy I'm using. But like I said, it's a fairly free-to-play team. You can sub her out for just about any carry you want. One that I would highly recommend that I've seen a lot of people doing. I'm doing this free to play, so I don't have her, but if you're willing to spend $1, which I otherwise would, except for just the experiment's sake, is going to go ahead and be Talia. Now, Talia from the first purchase bonus, I expected her to be a pure support type energy recovery, support, healing type thing, but she actually does really good damage, and you can power level her as a power carry, which is insane to me because a lot of the healing in this game is based on the healer's stats, be it their HP or attack, whereas in a lot of other games it's based on who they're healing. So this is fantastic for her to be a power carry. I didn't see this coming, but she can be. So she is a really, really solid carry. But there are a bunch of other units that we'll look at, and then we'll go into some team building type stuff. But some units I want to show you guys. I have been playing through multiple accounts, testing other characters as well. But if we go over here into portraits, the one that I really want to mention is Petra. I thought she was going to be the best carry in the game. Turns out she doesn't have the damage to carry, but she is so tanky, and she shields her allies, and she still does okay damage. She's a fantastic one to have as just a raw tank to help support the rest of your team and keep them alive. She doesn't have to be power leveled, and she can still do really incredibly well. And we look at her. The thing is, her ultimate, ultimate's based on her HP, but her main is the good skill, which is based on the enemy's HP, which is what you really want. So she doesn't really need to use her ultimate, and then she's still going to shield allies and then reflect some extra damage. So she's honestly incredibly solid. But not as a hard carry. The problem I had when I tried to use her as a power leveled carry is she just doesn't deal enough damage and you get timed out. So you do need to bring other damage deals with her, but she is a fantastic unit. Now, another unit that I have at the moment is Vivian. She's really clutch. If you use her ultimate, she can deal big damage. I don't use her ultimate. I just use her for the haste, pretty much. So if you've pulled her, really solid unit. Then if we look at another unit that I've seen people absolutely raving about is Dora. She does have she was one that I pegged from before the game launched that I thought she's either going to be amazing or horrible. I think she'll fall off later in campaign, but I think she's going to be a beast in PvP the whole way through. Basically, she sacrifices her own HP and just increases her stats, and she can just hit like an absolute truck. And if she doesn't die, she's going to kill a lot of things. So she is incredibly good as well. Those are the main ones that I wanted to look at, but definitely you can test anything. Renee is another one that I'm really looking at. I haven't done enough testing on. And Jacqueline is another one I really want to test out as well. But what I want to do is I want to bounce over to a tier list site just so that I can show you guys some sample. Okay, so here we go. This is my team up here. Like I said, we just went through it. My team, it's not the greatest, but with free-to-play units, considering that 4 of these are free-to-play, one of them obviously takes 7 days, it's actually a pretty solid combo. Now, with my team, like I said, if you don't have her, you can sub her out for a $1 purchase of, if I can find her, dude, trying to find these units for Talia. So you could do something like that with the Talia. It's pretty solid. Now that does leave us with too many healers. And like I said, I'm just going to do some forming of teams going through different units. Hopefully you can find basically what I'm trying to work towards here and maybe find some units that you do have. The game gives you lots of summons, so hopefully you can pull something. So let's say you didn't have Siha, so you drop Mika and Siha together. You drop both of those. Now it does leave us with these two. This leaves us with 2 fairies and a beast. Now, ideally, you want to put another fairy into a team like this. Ideally, you want to get at least a 3 of 1 faction bonus. It's 15% stats. Is it 15? 10? 15? 10? Whatever it is. It's not too bad. Maybe it's just me. I've always in games like to aim for at least the 3 piece. I don't care past that. Getting some sort of bonus is always nice, but then it's all about team synergy. Now, Viv is a great one to put in here. Obviously, you've already got the energy charging here, but then you're also going to get the haste boost as well, which is going to be really solid. Now, she's going to be your main damage dealer. Vivian can do really good damage as well when she ults, so not a bad option. And then from there, like I said, for free-to-play units, I think we're just about spent on our free-to-play units. Worst case, you could go with something like that. So that is a very basic $1 team that would take this unit as well. Past that, like I said, we've got in this team, we got a solid carry dealing damage, healing, generating your mana. Then we've got a solid DPS, a second solid DPS / buffer, a healer, and a secondary tank to take some aggro. Now, as we look at other things that we can build, like I mentioned, what's her name? I've already forgotten names. I apologize. Names are pretty hard. Petra. So Petra, like I said, is fantastic. I feel like these two, if you rerolled for Petra, and you spend the dollar and get Talia, really solid combo. Like I said, we've got Talia carrying, damage dealing, healing, energy, and then we just got the solid shielding from her, which is really fantastic. Also deals decent damage. Like I said, her damage is solid. It's just not fast enough. It's reliable damage, but it's just not fast enough to make her a solo carry. So that is something else that we can have. And then from here, once again, you would really ideally like to put in one more of the fairies, just because then we get the buff. Now, it would come down to what you've pulled, and if you have pulled any. Now, besides that, some other team composition, and like I said, once, if we look at this kind of team, once, you know, we're at 7 days and you want to sub it in, you could definitely do the Mika and the Seha, and that's a pretty solid team. You know, we've got tank / healer plus consistent damage. We've got damage dealer plus heals. We've got an extra healer here. I already said her, didn't I? Don't know. But then, yeah, we've got like the AoE damage and then we've got secondary tank. Now, it might be a bit too tanky into the point where we can sub this out, being that we've got 2 beasts, and maybe throw another beast in. So, you know, this is where we start balancing out the team. It's hard for me to team build when I'm using hypotheticals on trying not to have too many characters. Now, something else that I really do like, I haven't tested, I'm still very early on the account that I'm testing, but something like Jacqueline. Now, I think she pairs really, really well with Petra, and they have great synergies. So if you had those two, once again, you could do the $1 pack. Not saying you have to, she's just a good example that a lot of players can obtain. You know, then we've got our tank, our healer / DPS, and then we've got a back row sniper DPS, because a lot of the times back row becomes an issue. So if you haven't pulled a Jacqueline, definitely try it out. Now that gives us 2 and 1. Like I said, Vivian's always a great option, and then you could even throw this in as your secondary tank. So by the time her stealth ends and then enemies can attack her, like target her again, we've got the taunt rolling, meaning they're going to get dragged away, and we're pretty sweet. Then we got a solid front row of, you could probably play this as a two unit front row. Pretty solid. And then we got the extra damage here. So this is like a really balanced sort of team that I would love to build and test myself. And you got stuff like that. So hopefully that sort of gives you guys an idea on my team building thoughts and process. Keep in mind, it is still just like, I think, no, we're at 12 p.m. The game launched at 1 p.m. We're still in the first 24 hours since the game's release, but I just want to brain dump on you guys as I find things out, as I test things, so that you guys can have the information I'm going on. We're not going to know. Like, nothing is definite. Like I said, if you see a definitive tier list in the first week of a game, you know, it's probably going to have some errors in it once we learn more info. But this, for early team building, you know, I think it's pretty solid. There's some pretty good options. Like I said, they give us some fairly decent heroes for free to allow us to build pretty solid teams. So that is going to be it for this one, guys. Thanks for watching. Hope you have an awesome day, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Cheers.